RNG right now, they're basically saying, look, we banned out 3 mid laners, we're going to first pick our mid lane. We want the priority, we want something that can work well for Xiaohu, and again, he is the catalyst for what this team is. Xiaohu is the heart and soul of how everything in RNG works, so getting him that priority on something as powerful as the Ahri that can roam around and get that side lane pressure, huge for the side of RNG.
Especially when you banned away the likes of Vega and LeBlanc picks you often see into it. We do see the Lee Sin coming in for Kanavi, who's hovering the Viego. I much prefer this, I want that activity early. Now for RNG, the 2 junglers in my mind are probably Viego, or Volibear is a great option. If you want to counteract that early pressure from the Lee Sin, Hecarim's also possible. I think Hecarim and Viego sync very well with the Ahri, but clearly Wei wants to match Kanavi. He wants something to have that early pressure. We actually see the Varus come out.
I love this coming out from RNG. Very decisive and saying, look, yes, you get the Xayah, but we're not going to pick the Aphelios or the Jinx. We're going to go straight for that lethality versus lethality matchup, which I assume is going to happen. And we're going to put the Varus into Gala's hands. And this is someone, Gala has had a okay split. Not exactly exceptional, but, he is a player in my mind that when it becomes playoff time, when it becomes down to these best of 5s, he levels up. And on Varus, getting those extra resets in terms of the attack speed, being able to put down that extra poke, it can be something that can just be detrimental to JDG's comp if they can't deal with it.
And I think RNG already have fantastic single target CC can take down. That's how they like to play the team fights, good target selection. What I will say though is you sent 3 bans at Yagao and he ended up with Ryze, right? And I feel like Ryze is obviously a stellar pick in the current meta. We've seen lots of teams prioritize it. Absolutely great for Yagao, so they've managed that quite comfortably. Going to the second rotation, JDG are targeting supports. They know they'll have first priority if they want to take it and can leave counter pick for 369, something that in the last series they look to do very excessively.
Yeah, they look to try and just get that counter pick, get them trying, as we talked about as well, into that top side for 369. They will ban away the Kennen. I like this from RNG. Again, just covering their options and saying, look, 369, we get it. You play this. We're going to back ourselves away. And honestly, they may be able to put them in a little bit of a hole if they're able to put in a couple more bans. The Camille's already taken away. The Kennen, we could maybe even see the Gwen. We'll see how the rest of the pick bans go.
Yeah, could maybe see a Rakan ban come up from RNG as well. Something that, heavily prioritized, great with a Xayah, provides some of that engage potential, because something to bear in mind is we don't really have that primary engage from JDG. Lee Sin works in a pinch, but he's better at skirmishing than sort of forcing a 5v5, especially when you're up against the Varus. So we'll see. They obviously have the option of putting another top lane ban in, but I think Rakan would make a lot of sense in my mind. And then, obviously, RNG, I expect them to be able to get counter pick support. I expect JDG to take that support on that first pick. And then 369, I think the big thing for me was the fact that we've seen him willing to bring things out like the Lucian to ensure a really strong position. And they don't end up going for the Rakan ban, they go for the Malphite. I feel like JDG probably just take Rakan here.
Honestly, I think they're kind of pigeonholing them into taking the Rakan, because you look at the composition at JDG, like you mentioned, you've no engage. There's no real hard engage there. Ken and Malphite now taken off the board. Those are big, heavy, hard engage champions that you no longer have access to. So the Rakan is locked in there, and I think for RNG, you're okay with that particular trade-off, because like you said, you now get counter pick into the bot side.
It'll be interesting to see what they end up taking support in this situation. There's a lot of tools for RNG to get in. That's one of the things with the Varus is that you have that engage. So I feel like you have freedom to go in pretty much any direction you want for Ming. Typically would love to see him on the Nautilus, but obviously that's not there. The Karma makes a lot of sense in my mind, right? You have that movement speed, you have a little laning prowess. Rakan is someone who, has a safe lane, but if you're against something with a lot of harass, he doesn't have as much threat as like a Leona Nautilus to sort of force them to sort of punish champions like Karma who want to avoid engages.
That's it as well, and not only that, but the Rakan is good when he's able to get out onto the map early, kind of get those grand entrances on top of mid lane, maybe even go towards top. But with the Karma having constant push with the Varus, means that volley Karma combination becomes even more lethal. And for RNG, they are going to go and blind the Graves. It is pretty safe given the circumstances of what has been banned away, but now you've got 369 with the potential to counterpick.
Yeah, there's still Trinity open and available. Which we have seen is the highest banned top laner currently in playoffs. I'm not sure if he's going to go towards it. He just ends up taking the Jayce, so something that has a pretty fine matchup. The Graves is going to have priority early with Jayce. Quite comfortable in that one just to scale up. And ultimately, I feel like RNG have done a lot to ensure that they have tools to contest JDG. And that's something I was concerned about, because for me, the win con for JDG was have Kanavi pop up early. You have something with Yagao who's going to have early prior. We can roam to the sides. I think JDG will be looking to snowball their Lee Sin and lean that pressure, particularly towards top lane, would be outstanding. But my concern is for RNG, bot lane. right? We've seen that they love to get Gala ahead. They have a Volibear who post level 6 spectacular at going for those tower dives, and they're just going to permanently have Prior, right? Varus Karma into Xayah Rakan, the poke power, the AoE, is really going to be a bit of a pain point for JDG's bot lane.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I will say about RNG taking the Karma, yes, it's great. Ming's not really an enchanter player when it comes. Not the first thing that comes into mind. I think of Alistair, Nautilus, Leona. I don't really think of enchanters that can push the wave. So I'm curious to see how he'll be able to utilize that particular type of pressure and change it ever so slightly. But like you said, the pressure from RNG is going to be huge. But if you can get that Lee Sin up, if you get maybe an early Drake, you get a good fight around the Rift Herald for JDG, this comp starts to snowball away from RNG, and there's not really a lot for them to get back into it. They don't have a hard engaged Malphite or a Kennen. They don't have big engage tools to maybe 5v5. They are looking to try and, as you say, snowball that bot, and if it doesn't work, they're up a creek without a paddle.
Yeah, and I think for me, in my mind, Ryze, great getting the early prio. Lee Sin as well, level 3 is a spectacular skirmisher. Whereas for the Volibear, I mean, he's good pre-6, don't get me wrong. But really, I think the Ahri Volibear, so much more power comes available to them once they hit that level 6. That's where really I think RNG, level 6, with a bot lane with prio, they can start playing around things like the Herald, which I love to do. For JDG, I wanted to come in a little earlier. I want you to look for windows. Can you find a gank mid? Can you get early prio with Yagao, lean that top maybe and punish Bin? I think there's options there, and I really feel like this is on Kanavi. And we've seen what Oisin can do. We saw Chan with it yesterday. More of that, please.
Absolutely. Well, no more hypothesizing, no more speculating. We are jumping straight onto the rift. This is RNG versus JDG, second seed versus third in the LPL 2021 Spring Playoffs. And already we see RNG putting down some early vision. They need to know where Kanavi's going.
Yeah, it's vitally important in this situation to be able to track this Lee Sin. I think particularly with how bot lane, I mean, essentially, bot lane and top lane are going to be finding priority for the most part, right? Graves so good at pushing the wave because of those AoE autos. Bot lane, as we already said, gonna be able to just challenge constantly on the wave. So it gives loads of windows for Kanavi to potentially gank, which is why so important to keep tabs on him, know where he is. Ideally, what you can do here is they'll see that Kanavi is going to start topside, assuming he goes for his red after the Raptors. Gala and Ming can go for an early push and then look to bounce the wave back so they're not in a vulnerable place. Or they can have Wei just path down to cover them. There's a lot of options once you have that information available.
Well, we've already seen a bit of skirmishing in the bot side. This is, again, part for the course. We don't really expect anything else from the Karma and the Varus. They will just kind of push this wave pretty much exactly as we see it now.
I don't expect them to miss both of their abilities level 1, though.
True.
Especially with not in vision, but, you know,
they go for it. You know, we didn't use the mantra queued, so they can actually kind of go for something a little bit more aggressive, a little more hammed, and that's going to be a flash have to be used by Hope. This is the priority, and honestly, JDG, they got a little bit too sure of themselves.
Yeah, I think they were kind of contest the wave a bit too much, and RNG super confident. I love the early heal from Gala to ensure, like, yes, you burn a summoner, but it means that the Ignite for missing won't do much. The big value of Ignite is cutting that healing, so it just meant that Hope gets completely chunked out, and he actually has to recall here, so
this is huge.
Such a rough spot, and critically, because RNG didn't fast push the wave there, he's actually losing so many minions. Like, the wave is going to push eventually, but minions are just dying as Hope is in base. This is spectacular for RNG.
Oh, and this is get Gala going. This is exactly what we talked about, the priority that they put in towards this bot side that can lead into Dragons, Herald, and plays around the map. And you wanted to see it post 6. We are seeing it pre-level 2 right now, and already Wei recognizing that he might have an opportunity here, but he's going to be spotted out on a ward. So good knowledge or good feelings from JDG to recognize they're probably going to get dived.
Yeah, the critical thing here for Wei is that he's there to assist his bot lane, right? When the wave is built up like this, the worst case scenario would be Kanavi finding a route in and then them looking for the engage with missing and finding a gank. So because he's here, he's able to allow them to crash the wave. He will be spotted with Kanavi there. This wouldn't be a dive you want to go for, and he might be in trouble.
He might have to flash here. Yep, gonna have to use a summoner. Oh, he's gonna try and turn this one around, though. A lot of damage will eventually flash over the wall, but flash has to be used by missing as he was about to get hit by a piercing arrow to the heart. And that is, again, good pressure. We talked about a little bit in our pregame about how JDG love to play towards topside. We didn't get to see the clips or anything like that, but they are topside titans. They are guys that love to link in 369 and Kanavi. But when your bot lane is hemorrhaging this much, you have to babysit. You can't prioritize
Kanavi's
any other
playing
lane.
support right
He's
now.
9 CS!
Yeah,
9!
Look, they literally have Kanavi playing support. He's literally just sitting there babysitting Hope because it's going so horrifically. And Wei as well. I think what was fantastic is that you were even saying, you think he was going to flash out. I thought he was going to flash out but instead looked for that window to turn the trade around a bit, burn more summoners from missing, and force this reset. Now, we do see some heavy trade in the top lane, but, you know, I expect no one to garner too big of an advantage unless, you know, I mean, maybe if 369 hit that Shock Blast. But either way, just spectacular play. And look, Missing still level 1.
He's still level 1. How do you even do that? How do you even play this right now? This is just such an oppressive start right here from RNG. And this is not what I expected to see in the 2v2. I expected it to be very much a hotly contested. I think both these bot lanes are very, very similar in terms of their skill level. But it's just RNG are smacking them.
Yeah, and I mean, this is why you have to be so cautious about blinding Rakan, because we've seen it before. I specifically remember earlier in the split, we had Hung pick Lulu into a Rakan, and they just bullied it out of lane. Just isn't able to function. And the thing is, if you have something like a Leona or Nautilus, you can't do this as easily because they have so much kill threat in the 2v2. But realistically, unless you massively misplay, you're not going to find a 2v2 kill, even if you're even here for JDG pre-6. And on top of that, if you go in with a W on Rakan, all Karma has to do is shield the target, the movement speed gets them out of it, and then suddenly you're in trouble. You have no threat, and as we saw level 1, they traded back so heavily.
Very strong start from RNG. JDG, though, they haven't lost any lives yet. They are just falling a little bit behind. I will say, despite the scoreline being 0-0 across the board, that advantage of about 800 gold is purely in the bot side, is nothing else. But we can have a look at everything else. We did see a reset coming in from the side of Bin and 369. Funny enough, actually, Bin kept his TP, whereas 369 immediately used his. So we are going to see maybe a little bit of priority in that top side go towards the Graves. And again, mid lane, waiting for those level 6s to be hit. They are just finally being hit. So you have Realm Warp, you have Spirit Rush. Let's see what either of these mid laners can do now.
Yeah, and often we see RNG go for a dragon about this point, right? They pick it up about this point of the game, and then they use the they then can reset, get prio bot, and then swap up towards that Herald on the top side. So pretty par for the course they end up going for this one. You can see Waste on off right. We have Ahri with level 6. We have the bot lane who have reset a Dirk already for Gala, means no real contest can come for this. And this is just perfect for RNG, right? They are not the most kill-heavy team in the early game, very much around securing those neutrals and still accruing gold leads in the lane. So they get that first dragon. That's a tick in my book. And now we look towards the Herald in a minute 40. With the amount of pressure and prio they have in the bot lane, RNG can very freely just swap their bot lane up top and look to contest. Oh, they're looking for a bit of contention now, but looks like Missing will just get out. But as I was saying, they can easily swap their bot lane top and look to contest that Herald. And JDG are kind of trapped, because if they try and swap their bot lane up there, and let's say hypothetically Gala stays bot, he will just take so many plates.
Yeah, he'll just be able to take the tower. It's already down to nearly 3 plates already. They've almost got that second one purely off of their own back, as we see a little bit of a trades in the top side. And again, despite the the ideas that JDG probably wanted to come into this game with, they can't really execute on them. Yes, you got counterpick into topside with the Jayce into the Graves. It's kind of a pseudo counterpick, just more priority more than anything else. But you would have loved to see this Lee Sin do stuff early. Like you mentioned, get it snowballing, get the moves going. But it just can't be done in this environment. You have to be constantly bottle side because you'll just hemorrhage.
I mean, look what's happened. We now have 14 CS difference between the junglers. Kanavi hasn't been able to make anything happen. He's level 5 to Way's level 6. Simply because of the amount of pressure coming down. And now, level 6 from Volibear, so easy to dive here.
Yeah, you can't stay here. You have to walk away. The Spirit rushes over the wall. They're going to try and burn as many summoners as they possibly can. And there's nowhere for you to go. 2 birds, 1 stone. That's 2 kills to RNG.
Yeah, just flawless play, and that's the power that I was talking about. The Volibear Ahri post 6, you lean into a side, and there is just absolutely nothing you can do. And you look at the top side, right? Kanavi is stealing away some camps, but Bin, he has plenty of wave clear at the moment. He doesn't seem too concerned, and even in fact, there might be time for resets to come out. Wei and Xiaohu are back on the map. No opportunity for JDG to go for a dive. They are going to look towards that Herald, but they might even be in contest. Actually, you see the bot lane, as I said. RNG love their Heralds. They aren't going to let this one go without a fight.
They have a sixth sense, and they know something's going on. This is a level 4 Hope and Missing going in to try and contest this one, trying to help out their team as much as they possibly can. Wei, though, with no ult, is a little bit of a sitting duck. Just about got it off cooldown, but it's not enough, and that is a rare mistake from RNG in their macro play, just not respecting the rotations from JDG.
Yeah, and I think this is a smart one from JDG. If they gave over the Herald as well to RNG, it'd be a bit of a disaster. But just critically, oh no, Yagao.
He might be in a lot of trouble here. The tether nearly goes on. He had to flash there. We see another flash being burnt on top side. So the map has been split open. JDG, I like this from them. They're saying, look, we can't continue in standard laning phase. We have to move around the map. Otherwise, we're just going to completely lose everything. I like the play towards the top side. Yes, they're sharing the gold and the experience, but it's something.
Yeah, and you know, I'm actually going to say it, right? Because I talked a bit before how if JDG went topside for the Herald, you could see the side of RNG just take plates bot. But RNG, sometimes to their fault, are so heavily focused on the Herald, they go topside right, they move the Varus up, and for a lot of time, Gala hasn't really been doing anything. He went mid, picked up some CS there, but now he's heading towards bot, and that tower is still fairly healthy in the bot lane.
It's going to be a 4v4, though. They're going to go for the full fight, and that's Hope dead and buried. They're going to have the TP coming in from the Ryze, so it's going to be another native 4v4. Remember, you don't have the Varus here as the charm goes wide. Kanavi trying to see if he can stay alive. One more Mantra Q will be tanked by JDG as they keep themselves alive, but you've had to commit everybody up towards that top side, and Gala's free hitting bot.
Yeah, I mean, he still hasn't got to the tower yet. I think that's the critical thing, is that JDG, trying to find these windows, they are definitely at a significant deficit and they are struggling in these fights. But I feel like RNG could have potentially gotten more if they either kept Gala bot lane or they were a bit more reserved when they came towards the Herald. They are trying to make good on that. They are trying to find these opportunities, but not quite right yet. But what I will say is this bot lane deficit is obscene right now.
It really is. And again, this is just RNG kind of smacking them with their wallets. They know they're stronger. They know that Hope and Missing aren't even level 6 yet. You are so far behind right now. This Xayah is just... Yes, you can have a flash and a cleanse, but a lot of your early survivability comes from your ultimate.
Yeah, and I think JDG can honestly just be happy that they only end up losing Hope there. In the literal sense, not the metaphorical.
I was going to say, like, they're not out of it yet, Aux. They don't have to lose Hope just yet.
And I mean, we can look at the bot lane. Gala already with the Eclipse in pocket, 97 CS to 48, double the CS of his lane opponent. The level discrepancy is 2 levels up. That's the problem right now, is JDG, they kind of have to look for these cross-map opportunities.
He has flash, and he will get the knockback as well. But again, small little summoners, small little advantages, which mean that JDG have to be careful where they go. They have to make sure that they're buddying up, sending multiple people, multiple resources into areas, because they cannot risk getting caught. It's going to be a full tower solo to Gala pre-12 minutes.
Yeah, and again, I'll say maybe they could have gotten this a bit earlier if they sort of decide to just focus on that bot lane instead of swapping the Herald. We will see him, I think, pick this up before we get the Herald down from JDG. But JDG are going for a cross map, and this is the right call when you're at this much of a deficit. You don't want to contest RNG head-on, especially not if your bot lane is involved because of discrepancy. But they'll drop the Herald top. They won't get first tower, but they'll get a bunch of plates. And I like that even though they have this massive deficit, JDG are still trying to be proactive. They're still trying to get something in the tank.
Finally, Hope has level 6. They are finally able to let the feathers fly. We will see another charge from the Rift Herald. Don't think they'll be able to get the tower, as there is a pretty stoic defense here from RNG. But again, like you said, making something happen. They're not laying down and accepting their fate. They are saying, look, we are only 3,000 gold behind. It's a lot, but it's not insurmountable.
Yeah, I mean, it's just rough because I think particularly when you look at the composition of JDG, Jayce, Xayah, and Lee Sin are all champions you want to have ahead, right? If Jayce or Xayah being lethality champions, they're ahead of the curve, it makes such a massive difference, right? The Lee Sin as well as a champion you want that gold investment into. So I'm a little bit concerned at this point, the fact that they don't have that advantage. But there's still lots of windows, lots of opportunities, right? They hold it pretty well if they play a wide map state with the Ryze. They can fish for picks on the back of that. Lee Sin on top of the Rakan, very good at like punishing targets out of position. And especially a big thing to be mentioned is Ming is playing Enchanter, right? And if you're trying to establish vision as a Karma, it can be risky. Missing a lot of health now.
Yeah, he's definitely missing a lot of health. And again, he's still not level 6. He's still missing that quickness right now. So not too concerned about that. The support generally goes a fairly long time before they are able to get that at level 6.
It's been a while.
But it's been a little while. You would expect it at 12, 13 minutes that we should be getting to that point. But
it's got it now.
We're going to got it now, but 369, he might be in a little bit of trouble here. They're going to see if they can try and catch him out. They know exactly where he is because he's after pushing the wave, and he's on a little bit of an excursion, a little bit of an expedition. They actually don't know exactly where it is. This could be 369 007ing it right now.
Yeah, I think they're not committing too heavily. You can see the bot lane have just gone back mid. As much as they could just try and chase down 369. A lot of places for him to hide in the jungle. It's not really worth it, so he should be able to get... I was thinking he'd be able to get out, but they might be looking for a play mid with the flank coming in.
They have no chain of corruption. That's going to be a nice little bit of damage already onto Gala. The big, healthy man is dead. They are trying to push him now underneath the turret, though. 369 will fall. That will go over to Ming. It's a trade of 1-for-1. Not exactly ideal from JDG, but opportunistic.
Yeah, and they get a plate as well. I just find it amazing that 369's chased out of bot lane. Oh, they're looking for more.
Wow, that's a flash forward as they try and take down this Karma. Finally, a little bit of gold income goes goes over to Hope, but you got to deal now with the jungler and the mid laner. Never mind, RNG are too slow in the rotation, and we got equal kills on the board.
Flawless play, honestly, from JDG. Despite the deficit, they find this opportunity. 369 chased out of his lane, turns it into a long flank. I just feel like RNG completely caught off guard, and the execution there from JDG, excellent, honestly. The single target damage that they have between the Ryze and the Lee Sin, the fact that they can lock down that target and pin them down, but here, they just really did not expect. I mean, your assumption is 369 is going to recall, right? But no, wants to turn it into a play, obviously does go down to the tower, but think he's kind of okay with that one. But then the confidence from Yagao to go in for the flash route, so easy, and this is why we see this combo with the Lee Sin Ryze. One has the CC, one has that burst, single target execute damage.
I will say, yes, you get the kills. Congratulations, you've kind of brought the goal back by about 500-600, but you do lose mid lane priority, and RNG are stacking Drakes. That's the big question I have right now, is that you have an Infernal Soul coming in for a Graves, Ahri, Karma, Varus, and a Rift Herald going over as well. Yes, it's good from JDG, but they're not out of the woods just yet.
Yeah, they're still at a deficit, right? And there's still concerns, because the thing is, especially when you look at the fact that Gala is also playing a lethality champion, he is just going to, for the whole game, be ahead of the curve in terms of items. If you're playing like a lethality champion to a crit champion, you know, sometimes you can get some cheaper spikes. Manimune is super gold efficient for its cost. But when it's also Gala going a similar build path, he's just going to be doing more damage. And critically, the Varus will be doing it at a longer range than you, which makes it even more painful.
Yeah, that's the big thing. I think that the Varus kind of does a lot of what Xayah does better. But you kind of swap the ultimates out from a survive to an engage. So lots of different opportunities here for now for RNG to maybe make something work, as Ming with some cojones of steel to make sure that he didn't get caught out just there. But with the priority they now have into mid lane, this might just be a tower straight away. All 5 members of JDG are here, as RNG went for the early reset before that dragon in a minute.
Yeah, and I don't think they'll quite be able to get this tower, but just applying so much pressure here. OGC way looking now.
Here we go. Everfrost doesn't quite land. Yagao gets stunned up with the charm. They're going to pop down the chain of corruption as here goes the Volibear. They get 1 kill on the bin, and that's going to be another one as well. RNG finally tearing apart JDG and saying there's nowhere for you to go, nowhere for you to hide. 2 kills for Xiaohu, and this game has finally been blown open.
Yeah, I mean, RNG find a window to punish, and with a beautiful flank from Xiaohu, they look to do so.
They get an inhib turret.
Yeah, Herald as well. They can easily get this tier 2. I think they're going to leave it after that, not too concerned about the inhibitor, but they will look for resets before that dragon. That's one thing to be noted. There's a TP on Yagao. Kanavi are missing a respawning. Dragon in 20 seconds. They want to be back on the map. They want to get that third dragon. And honestly, at this point, one thing I will say is a lot of ults were used by RNG, but similar for the side of JDG, right? Quickness down, the kick from Kanavi. They're in a rough spot if they try and contest this.
Yagao, he's on a flank of flanks right now as Wei finds him. It is going to be a level 11 Ryze, kind of putting down some pretty decent damage here. He's going to try and turn it back just to get the stun off. Should be able to survive, I would say that, but with the shock blast, oh, there it is! A little bit of scorch damage right at the end, and that's going to be the jungler dead, which means you don't get this dragon, and that's a big win for JDG. And despite RNG coming out on top in so many of these plays, it does feel like JDG have got some answers.
Yeah, I mean, JDG just don't believe in gold deficits at this
point. The Realm Warp, it's good, and it's found Gala, and that's going to be a kill coming out, but the TP is here. Now Xiaohu looking for those resets, will miss the Everfrost as he trying to land the charm. He's looking for a good opportunity to make it work, as Bin is dealing with Hope as he tried to make this one work. The Kanavi is almost dead, but he's on the backside. He smites to keep his health alive. This is such a scrappy fight as everyone's going, but when all things are lost, hope shall remain, as JDG have somehow come out on top.
I don't know how they keep doing this. They're at such a deficit, and they just don't care. They don't believe in it. They consistently look for these challenges, look for these fights. It feels like RNG are being caught off guard again and again. The pick on a way into the dragon. A lot of teams would go, we're behind. We pick the jungle, we get the dragon and an objective bunny. Fantastic, that's enough. No, JDG push for more. And yes, they're still behind, but they should be able to pick up this mid tower here, I think, with it being so low. They picked up that dragon, which is instrumental in stopping the stacking coming out from RNG. Oh man, just stellar play, considering again the amount that's how far behind they were in the bot lane throughout this entire game.
Hope's 4-2-2. Hope has 4 extra kills that Gala doesn't have. Yeah. Let's have a look at the replay right here, because again, this is kind of a bit of a scrappy one, but Gala gets completely isolated and he's nowhere near support.
Yeah, and I love the fact that the Realm Warp is used so well here. He got nearly knocked out by that Blast Cone, but once they get onto this no flash Varus, nothing he can really do. And then we get Bin TP in for this extended fight, but the coordination and the gameplay in this from JDG is just stellar. You see Kanavi get a massive amount of healing using the gold drinker there, and then this kick that came at the end ended up buying so much space for them to finish out the fight. Hope nearly getting the 2 kills there, but just really excellent skirmishing again from a significant deficit.
And this is just why we can never count any of these teams out. JDG, they were able to give Hope time in that fight. And look, he's down literally a longsword. That's it. That's all he's down
And
right
actually,
now.
His mana is fully stacked.
Yeah, he's
So-
actually ahead of the curve technically, because it's actually about 100 mana left on that mana or mer mana for the side of Varus.
And we're getting to the point where it's a really big spike for JDG. So critically, the Ryze, you know, we talk about the tank Ryze, he's starting to get tanky, right? He has a Thimble Winter, very bulky, still doing very good damage at this point of the game. And on top of that, we're close to having both 369 and Hope with that fully stacked mana immune Eclipse Spike. Still a bit of a time for 369 to have it, but both of these carries are doing a lot of damage. So yes, RNG are still up in gold, but I feel like there's a lot of strength afforded to JDG right now, which is why they're playing so confidently around that.
I mean, you have to be right now. And you talked about the single target damage. If someone gets caught, which we have seen multiple times now from RNG, one person getting isolated, moving around by themselves, not really respecting the fact that JDG could make things work. But now, as I say that, maybe a little bit of an overextension here. They're going to look for the charm. It goes right between the sticks. They get the knock-up on the Xiaohu, and Xiaohu is dead. They're going to take down the Rakan. It's a bit of a response, but Hope is shredding it right now. JDG are ahead in this game. JDG are going to turn for the Baron, and JDG are going to be able to control this map.
I mean, just what a flawless fight, and missing. He sees Xiaohu dive in and turns it around onto him, catches him on the very final Spirit Rush to get that play in. JDG this whole game fighting from a deficit, able to absolutely deliver, and can now turn this into a Baron and will finally have a gold lead.
We're going to see them now going towards that Baron, and this is just JDG. Honestly, what an incredible comeback. They played so smart. They played so respectful towards how they could, and RNG just didn't give them the same juice.
I feel like, you know, I'm even going to say this is sometimes something I've seen from RNG in particular. Like, their series against LNG Game 1, they fell behind, and it just felt like they had no way of getting back. If you don't have the gold at the top of the screen, and you look at how JDG are playing, it didn't actually feel like they ever were at much of a deficit. They just honestly didn't care. Consistently looking for these opportunities. And something I want to highlight here in particular is Missing's play on this Rakan. You know, had a rough time in the laning phase, but just an absolutely flawless catch on a Xiaohu here. And you can see Xiaohu going in, and then dashes out, and just poured out on that W from the Rakan. Really flawless play. And yes, Rakan dies, but the job is done. They're able to find that. And Yagao, just a complete beefcake on the front line.
I love what Hope did there as well. He initiated with his ultimate so we can get the immediate pullback, get the route down so there was no escape. Now, JDG, about 2,000 gold ahead once this tower goes down, 2 kills up, and they're going to have priority over this dragon as well. So we talked about the dragon stacking very much early on for RNG. This is now spiraling against them. 2 Infernal Drakes, maybe even leading to 3 or 4, is ridiculously powerful for JDG.
Absolutely. I mean, the extra AD for the likes of a Jayce and for a Xayah, really stellar. And I'm still just amazed at the deficit we saw in the bot lane, and they managed to bring it back. Just deliver in such a fantastic way, but they will secure that second dragon. They still have a minute 40 on that Baron in pocket. We can see RNG looking towards that top side, trying to get this tower before the waves become too much of an issue. And ultimately, because that tier 1 is still up in the bot lane, there's no way that RNG can really defend this anyway. So JDG will be looking to stack up a wave and try and take a tier 2 on the back of this. And I feel like that will give them a pretty sizable goal lead overall.
Let's take a breath. Let's start resetting ourselves. I think this is a state of game where we have seen ourselves, probably not the way we expected to get to this state of game, but definitely something that we expected. It's still very close between these teams. JDG will have an easier time of aggressing. It is a trade, though, at the moment for the tower in the top and the tower in bot, but right now it's going to be JDG putting down a lot of hurt. They've still got a minute left in this Baron. They're going to basically take every single outer turret. As I say that, maybe they go for a little bit of an engage. Kind of difficult right now to try and stop this push. You got the cannon minions going to be able to push this one down. You have to back away.
And the problem is, right, is we talked about how the Rakan was a great tool for JDG to have that reliable engage. We often look at Ming for RNG to be that reliable engage in the later stages. He just has speed. He can speed way up, but a Volibear running at you, especially if you have someone that's available or have a way of like disengaging, isn't that effective. You're never going to pick off Hope, right, if you just have a Volibear charging him when he has the ultimate, the cleanse of the flash. Xiaohu fishes for these charms, but it's very difficult to force something for RNG. Gala does have the Chains of Corruption, so it's kind of just relying on, you know, moments like that, and Kanavi dodges it away. That's one less tool available.
There's one less tool available. Yagao putting down some decent damage onto Bin. His mid lane turret now under siege. Hope at a fantastic spike with the Jayce. Should be able to burn down this tower. RNG, they are tickling down these health bars ever so slightly. And JDG, they don't want to overstep. They don't want to overcommit. They broke open the base. They can now back up, reset, spend that gold, and get themselves back on the map.
Yeah, but a lot of damage done, right? And we saw how well executed JDG were playing around. Even when they had a goal differential that was in favor of RNG, they're now up 3.5k, right? We've gone from a deficit to being up quite significantly. They got those 2 dragons in pocket for those extra, that extra AD. And so JDG are in a position where they should be continuing their aggression. They should be looking for windows and trying to challenge. You have 2 minutes and a bit on both of those objectives.
Oh, Bin.
Oh, 369, look, that's a lot of damage.
That's just one shock blast. I will say it is accelerated, but it is still just a shock blast. You got to be so careful right now. We'll say Bin going for a little bit more of the scaling build as well. Has gone with the Immortal Shield Bow into the Collector, most likely going towards that IE third. So is going to try and just one-shot people when he gets right up in mid lane or melee range of them. But that's a little whiles away, and you kind of need a little bit more damage right now. I feel like JDG are pumping the gears. They're pumping the iron right now, and they're feeling confident.
It's also like the thing is, he doesn't have like percentage armor shreds, so he's going to struggle to cut through the Ryze, right? He already has that gargoyles.
God, Yagao's huge. I never even noticed.
Yeah, he is an absolute beefcake. So he's going to struggle to cut through Ryze, and I think the problem is you're never really going to be able to comfortably hit Jayce or Xayah, right? Jayce is going to be at a distance with a shock blast. If he does come in range of you, it's because he's going to burst you. Yeah. And Xayah similarly.
He's not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in there with him.
100%. and Xayah as well, if you're in range to get rooted by the feathers, you're in a painful position. So you know, that's why sometimes we see the lethality graves, because it does work at that longer range. You either dash in for a quick burst or you use the ultimate. But we see JDG, something done fantastically this game is use the pressure from that Ryze. Yagao now pushing in that top lane, and the rest of the team apply pressure mid. They'll rotate upwards, sweeping the vision out. They're going to try and crash this wave and look for this tier 2. And despite the fact that Baron is gone, it's still going to be tough to defend with it being so low. They actually have to burn the TP to try and make sure they are there and available, because they do not want to lose this tier 2 tower.
Yeah, they can't. They can't lose this right now. There's so much gold they've hemorrhaged in the last 3 or 4 minutes alone. They are going to try and catch out Yagao, though, who does pop himself on top of his ultimate, or excuse me, not his ultimate, his stone plate. Hasn't used his ultimate just yet. It was the ultimate of the Volibears. They've got another charm coming out that's missing down to half HP. But again, it's so difficult. The big issue you have with the Ahri is your damage is just not as significant later on in the game when these resistances come in. The Merc Treads, the magic resistance. You're just not able to 100-0 people as you were, say, 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, this Ryze is just far too tanky, especially as the gargoyles, which you can pop to give that extra on your shield. But something I want to mention is we have 45 seconds till that dragon, right? And we just saw in that last fight, Gala ended up burning Flash. 369 in a bit of trouble.
He's in a lot of trouble here. They're going to flash in on top of him and try and catch him out. He is dead. That's a key pick. These are long death timers right now. That's 50 seconds of the map. And Baron's just spawned. JDG will not have that big poke.
Yeah, I think you look for it, and you have the ability to turn if you catch someone with that Chains of Corruption. If Xiaohu can look for someone with the charm, JDG going to have to try and respond for this. There is opportunity for Kanavi to steal, right? The Lee Sin, great at stealing Barons because of that execute damage with the smite. But this is where JDG's solid game could go out of control.
Here we go. TP coming in, but RNG are prepared. They know it's going to happen. They're going to immediately go in, so Yagao has to flash as soon as he arrives. But Gala's already dead. The Everfrost stops Xiaohu from moving as he gets his Spirit Rush to try and catch out Kanavi, who's a little bit isolated from the rest of the team. But it's still a 4v4. They're trying to burst down this Lee Sin. There, the feathers going flying, and Hope turns it back. No jungler shall survive, and it's a 2-for-2 trade.
Yeah, but I mean, the big thing is 369. He was already dead, so he's going to be able to TP in. And they're actually going to look for the Baron now. RNG, this is a hard contest, so Xiaohu, no ultimate. The Ahri will be significantly subdued here.
Yeah, they're going to be significantly subdued and a lot of poke damage. Xiaohu went down to about half HP. Baron down to about a third of its own. As we see now, there's the Realm Warp coming in. They're going to try and just kind of dissuade them. It's going to be on Ming, but he can't get in position in time. They are going to try and get themselves out, or maybe they look for the fight. JDG get the Baron. They are hunting. They need to be a little bit careful, though, but Yagao is so tanky. He's such a big, beefy man that you are just intimidated, and you have to... Whoa! walk away! Because that will happen! Karma is popped, and there's nowhere for you to run right now, Xiaohu. You need to try and get out as quickly as you possibly can. JDG will turn back for the dragon. That's going to be their Infernal Soul point, and RNG are thoroughly on the ropes.
Just again, great play coming out, and particularly Kanavi, yes, he ended up going down, but something I highlighted was the lack of flash on Gala, and he found a beautiful kick, and as soon as Gala dropped, it's like just RNG lost so much of the pressure they had coming into that one. Just really excellent player, and that's the thing, is you can play around these lack of summoners on these immobile picks, gets a Sonic Wave, they kick in as well, an easy follow-up for the rest of the team, and yes, Kanavi does end up dying, but he buys so much time with the stopwatch, and then the what's it called? Drinker as well. He buys so much time in this play for his team to end up following up and critically killing away as well. They wouldn't go for that play if the enemy jungler was still alive, but because they took him down, because they traded, they felt confident on it.
And now JDG 6,000 gold up. There was a time in this game they were 3,000 gold down. This is an absurdly fantastic turnaround here in this game. And honestly, RNG have nothing. Oh, I stop myself very quickly here. They might try and look for an engage. Wei is dead. Wei is so damn squishy right now because he just doesn't have the resistances. He went for the Zhonya's build, which means that he just doesn't have the HP to survive. And now, with RNG going for that play, you're not really set up to defend.
That's the problem. They don't have that engage. It's literally just run at them or hope you land a Chains of Corruption or a Charm, and they're just not able to do so. So JDG will continue that pressure. We have Yagao pushing in the bot lane, but has that Realm Warp if he needs to join. And right now, 369 in particular can just look for poke, right? The Shock Blast, look at that damage.
God damn it. This is the thing. Yes, you have the Varus. Yes, the Varus is decent poke, but... Oh, very decent poke. Oh, Jesus, they got the ult out of Hope right there, but...
Two things.
Yeah.
One, Graves is a collector, so it's very close.
Yeah, very close.
And two, if that was a lethality Graves, Hope would have died.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying on that one.
There we go. I knew I could get you eventually to comment on the build. You waited for it. But yeah, again, RNG, they will survive. They will be able to continue, as I'm about to sneeze. He did sneeze. Yeah, just needed a second there. But RNG are still in this game. However, JDG, how do you take him down? As you said, you need pick potential, but it's so unlikely. I just don't see it coming happen unless there's a massive mistake in positioning from JDG.
Well, I think as well, Missing has played this game so spectacularly because the thing is, it is a squishy pick for the Rakan. If you get caught by CC, you'll just go down. There's the Charms, there's a Chain of Corruption, there's even a Stun for the Volibear. If any of those connect with you, you will just go down. But whenever he's been looking for Warden or contesting areas of the map that you don't have control of, he's been just, darting back and forth, making sure they can't connect, using his mobility. And it's not like he's just played defensive, he's played passive. You can see on the screen right now, he plays aggressive for that vision, but they still just haven't been able to find him. And he is the target, ideally, that RNG would like to be able to connect some CC on to try and get that pick, but it's just not happening right now. And JDG going to try and keep applying that pressure.
Going to look for it in the top side. Baron has subsided, but they are still looking to try and take down this tier 3. See Yagao now pushing forward, unafraid, just putting down so much work onto Bin. Bin can't trade this back right now. He's going to get taken out if he doesn't go stasis straight away. So that's his Zhonya's all of a sudden taken off the board. They are going to use the Realm Warp, bring some minions towards this top side, and they're just stretching RNG, pulling them in different directions. RNG are struggling to keep it together.
Yeah, and there is some good poke coming down from Gala, but the ult comes in, but no Charm connecting from Xiaohu, and now that's a big tool not available. JDG feels so confident.
They feel so confident. Wei does go golden to try and keep himself alive. He has to use his ultimate defensively, and we talked about how they don't really have engaged. Now we've even less engaged with the Volibear having to ult away as Gala loses half his health bar from one accelerated shock blast, and JDG, they may look for the end right now.
Yeah, I mean, they can just keep applying the pressure. People are having to reset from RNG. There's a super minion. They are pushing down.
Oh my god, there's so much damage there onto the Nexus turrets, and they're not going to overstep. There's a minute until the Dragon Soul spawns. They know that they have everything going for them. They just need to dot their I's, cross their T's, and they should be able to come out of this game with a win.
It's so difficult to approach, because now JDG are going to sweep out a lot of this vision towards the Dragon and then go for a reset. And the critical thing is, if RNG ever face check in, the threat of things like the shock blast coming out from the fog of war, so hard to dodge when you don't see it coming, and the damage.
Oh my god!
It's obscene. And this is, bear in mind, they just picked up a bunch of gold there as well. This is pre-reset. They're still doing so much. And missing again, just dodging every charm that comes out. He's so confident on this pick.
Yeah, Xiaohu might be trying to maybe think of a name change right now with these. Oh, as I say that though, they find a pick, and that's missing dead.
Too much.
You praised them too much. They miss it now on this particular support. But Xiaohu, is he going to get caught out here? He does miss the charm again. But it's a 5v4. RNG, this is your best moment. This is your only moment because super minions are pushing into the base. You can see they've got 2 TPs. They could look for the end.
Well, it looks like Xiaohu's going to reset, and then he has the TP to join the team if he needs. Do you see 369 hovering out of vision so they can look for it? But I think the commit is going to be onto this dragon. If they get the soul, it's going to be even harder for RNG, so they're fishing to try and contest this one.
Here we go. 4,000 HP onto the dragon. Wei has to go in with the ultimate. They're going to try and burst it out, and it's taken by the Varus. It only gives you a little bit of a respite, nothing more. Here we go. Kanavi gets the kickback, but maybe he gives his life. No, he had the GA, so he's totally fine with that one. And Hope is aggressive. Hope knows how powerful he is. He said, you bully me in the early game. Now it's my time to shine.
Double TP coming in. They're going straight for the end, and RNG, Gala's in trouble.
Gala is in a lot of trouble, but he's got a lot of damage. That's Kanavi dead. Now you're only got yourself 2 people to defend.
There's a Jayce in your base.
There's a Jayce in your base with a Ryze as well. They both TP'd in. You have to try and get there somehow, some way. They will have been. They have got the 2 auto attackers. It's big damage here from RNG, but they've got a lot of minions to deal with.
Oh, Gala's up for the poke here.
He's got a little bit of it, but it's going to be so difficult. They're going to be able to take down the Nexus turret number 2. There's a great charm coming out as well, and that's going to be game 1. JDG. How do you come back from that?
It's just so crazy to me. I was like, I want to see Kanavi being active early, and let's be real, the early game was a mess.
Oh,
right?
It was awful. It wasn't even a mess. It was awful.
They got bodied bot lane. RNG, they got the first dragon. They got the first. They didn't get the first Herald, but they won the fight around the Herald. And it just felt like things were going how they wanted to go. And then JDG, I think what was beautiful is how they played around the pressure in the side lanes. Right, Yagao would push up. And then sort of realm warp in to assist the team, go for those flanks. And just the fact that they played as if they didn't care that they had a goal deficit.
Yeah.
And I think what's hilarious is that we saw first rotation, 3 bans towards Yagao.
And he still got Ryze.
And he got Ryze, and he was massive on it. I think RNG, you had 3.5 weeks to prep for the series. I feel like I probably, it's already gone out the window a little bit because that strategy just didn't work.
Yeah, there's a little bit of honestly, that's a little bit of a tilter for me right there. That is a unfortunate loss because, again, in the early game, for all intents and purposes, everything went your way.
That's the problem, because I feel like if you get crushed in the early game, you're like, Cole, it's a best of 5.
Whatever. Yeah, we flipped bot lane for some reason, and we messed up.
If JDG had lost that series, they could have easily said, okay, too much pressure on the bot lane, it's fine, we go and actually change up the draft. I think the fact RNG got such a big advantage and were unable to capitalize, it's really rough, and I think the mid game from JDG was honestly just absolutely stellar.
Yeah.
That's something you can't just tick a box and fix. It's not something that RNG can just suddenly answer at a whim. So not a great start for the series.
Don't lose advantage.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Maybe the strategy is don't have a gold lead and then you can't lose it.
I mean, that's the V5 way, They tend to win from a goal deficit more often than not. But yeah, it's fantastic win from JDG. Really love the resilience, really love the tenacity to say, like you mentioned, just play the game. Know your strengths, understand when you're strong, when you're not, and just beat RNG out their game. If you took, again, I love saying this because it's a very, very kind of typical thing for casters to say. Take away the nameplates, and that doesn't look like RNG to me. That didn't look like a stereotypical RNG game.
And something I'll say as well is, we talked at this the other day about how RNG like to invest resources into Gala. There have been a lot of times where Gala has been caught out.
Yeah.
Not just in this game, in this split so far. And when you allocate those resources to your AD carry, and your AD carry has so much power, and then he's getting caught out, like we saw the great kick from Kanavi coming in. And bear in mind, that was not a hard kick because he landed the Sonic Wave on Gala.
Yep.
Right? If you're he tanked a hit from Baron, the Sonic Wave connected from him as well. Your whole team is there and you get hit by something. It should never be happening. And I feel like as much as that wasn't the core reason why they lost, you know, if you're investing so many resources into your AD carry, they can't be making mistakes like that, because despite the fact Hope was so far behind, he really bounced back.
I mean, great performance from him. And again, just playing smartly, knowing when he could and could not go into things. And he died, say, twice in the early game and then didn't die again. That's how just smart and safe this Xayah pick is. And honestly, like, this is a big issue now for RNG, because Varus and Kamara, well, you're two counter picks. You got to pick them both after you saw the bot lane. So how do you change this? Honestly, it might be a thing of like, look, we better get him back on the Jinx Aphelios, because at least we know how to play against it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've had such weird dynamics, because we've seen series where it felt like, I particularly remember the EDG series, when it felt like Viper on the Aphelios was so strong, so fed, couldn't auto-attack because he was up against the Xayah, and he just couldn't even get close, right? The Xayah being able to play the lethality build and use that longer range on your QE just offered a lot more. So I feel like that's why you've seen a bit of a shift, especially with the nerfs to Jinx and Aphelios as well. But ultimately, I don't even think like the picks were necessarily a problem in the bot lane. It really was, execution was a massive factor. I will say, you know, the Graves didn't really hold too much weight, right? Especially, I think, into that comp that the enemy team had. You know, the only person I ever really saw him auto-attack more than once was the Ryze, and it didn't look like he auto-attacked him because it just did nothing. So potentially that's something they can change, but either way, man, RNG, a lot to look for in that game 2 to bounce back.
Yeah, well, JDG will go into the